So today is Monday, February the 5th, and G2 just came out with a very convincing 2-1 against Fnatic, even though game 2 was a bit shaky. Dylan, how are we feeling after this game?
Um, I'm kind of relieved that we won. I thought that we were in actually very good form going into this series and have a lot of very strong ideas on the patch. And I think the fact that it took 3 games and the third game was a bit close was a bit too much for maybe our hearts, but I'm happy we won and we clutched it out in the end.
I think we've seen this question asked to pretty much every team by now. What are we thinking about Lucian Nami? I think you guys made it work today. It was a very convincing performance by Ansama and Mickey as well. What are your thoughts about this combo?
I think Lucian Nami and Lucian, I guess Melio is the other one that a lot of people play. Um, I think it has very poor results across the world, even like across the world except for a few teams that managed to do it very well. I think the more we learned about these Lucian combos, the more you can kind of understand why. They're weak to champs that threaten them really well. And they also require you to play very, very aggressively and on the edge of making a mistake a lot of the times, and then it becomes easy to just make a mistake and lose the game. So there are conditions that we are willing to play these champs, and we think they can be pulled off really well. I also think Hans is an insane Lucian, so that helps. So it's conditional for us, but I think it can be very strong if you're very skilled and willing to really play to the limits.
So game two obviously did not go well for you guys. I think it was even maybe a bit of a storm for Fnatic. Were you guys a bit shaken up after that game, or were you confident that you were gonna take the series anyways?
Um, I was confident that on blue side we could just fix a few of the draft and early game issues that plagued us in the second game. I think the second game was a bit of a passive game, one that I'm personally as head coach of the team not too fond of, but just the way the draft and our early game went, we were kind of forced into a passive position. So yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of the plan or the draft. I think they had some really good ideas that we were caught a bit of guard for. And then of course, once all 3 lanes start the game losing in a game like that, it's very, very, very hard to do anything but try and stall. So I'm happy that the boys stalled, but yeah,
Yeah, especially the early game maybe didn't go as planned, I guess.
for
But
sure.
yeah. In the last few weeks, you guys have been trying quite a few different strategies. Did you tackle this match against Fnatic a bit differently because maybe it's a bigger opponent, maybe a bit more of an important match?
Um, we're mainly just focused on patch understanding rather than preparing for specific opponents, especially this week because we didn't really know what people would come into the week and play. This is one of the, I think, more volatile patches in League of Legends history, I would say. It's definitely, there's a lot of very interesting, strong champions that change draft a lot. So um, we kind of had a general approach, and then we were able to see a bit of what Fnatic played yesterday.
Yeah. So far, we haven't seen too much from patch 14.2, apart from maybe Karma being pick or ban pretty much every game. Do you think there's more stuff that we haven't seen then in that case?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of crazy stuff on this patch. Maybe we have not shown all of it, but I think if you see our games from the last couple of sets, we've played some interesting stuff. The Senna Maokai, the Zac Top. I think there's more, but yes, and I think we saw a lot of Brand Jungle yesterday in the LEC. So I think there's a lot of interesting stuff that can be played.
So obviously this match was quite close still, nonetheless, even if you ended up taking it. Do you see G2 as the best team in Europe right now? And who do you think is maybe the second best team if you rate yourself as first?
Yeah, I think we're the best team in Europe for sure. We won the last couple of splits, and we got first place in the regular season, and now we're doing pretty well in playoffs again. So I think we definitely have one of the strongest rosters, and we also have all the synergy we built through last year. We have the experience. So that being said, I think that Fnatic and BDS probably are standouts of being competitors. We could have lost to Fnatic today for sure. And BDS is looking pretty strong, although we did beat them in our stage match when we played in best of ones. I'm excited to play them again next week.
So Mickey X in interviews has been very vocal about focusing on international play and MSI in general. Would you echo the sentiment as well that maybe the goal of the team in general and the coaching staff is just to try and get in the best form possible for MSI?
Um, it's interesting because I think for us, winning Europe is not good enough. We would not consider that a successful year if all we do is win in Europe. But that being said, the only way you get to compete internationally is by winning Europe. So as of right now, my mind is actually really focused domestically. I would love us to do well internationally, and that is the ultimate goal of this team. But um, MSI is a tricky one, right? You can get second place twice, and then all of a sudden you're not going to MSI. So we're focusing on that first.
Are you confident in the chances of G2 just winning the split then in that case, winter split?
I think we're the favorites to win this split. I'm confident, yeah, of course. But of course, it's competition and anything can happen. And there's a couple other strong teams for sure.
Also, a thing that is interesting is that if you end up winning the winter split, you will have an MSI spot locked.
hmm
In the scenario in which you win the split, would you say that you would take the spring split in a different manner, maybe, or are you just like focused on sweeping you pretty much as well?
So last year we won winter split, and then our spring split had some um, questionable performances. We started off with quite a few troll picks, specifically, I would say, in my mid lane department. I think if we were to do well in Winter Split or to win it, for example, I would not want to repeat that again. I would like to have a serious approach to the next split as well, especially my mid laner.
So last year it was a big blow for EU fans. We got completely smashed by NA at Worlds, and nowadays at Sheep Esports I have LCS EV that keeps on spamming NA greater than EU at every chance he gets. Can you please tell me you're gonna win this year against NA?
Um, like we took what we took 4 games, or was it 4 or 5 games off of Asian teams last year. I don't really think that's something that any teams did. I think we had a really bad day against Energy, but um, our sights are a bit higher than just beating North American teams. Although I guess we did lose last time. Yeah, that is true.
I mean, I've heard some rumors apparently that Kesha is maybe coaching Yike in the background and something. Are you guys preparing some Nunu picks for later on in the season or something?
Yeah, Yike needs a bit of work on his snowball driving. I'm also actually a Nunu OTP myself as well, so we've got a lot of leadership and a lot of help for Yike's Nunu. It's not quite yet ready, but maybe you can see it. Maybe for the finals.
All right. Well, that was about it. Do you have anything you want to say to the fans before we close out?
Just thanks for the fans for supporting us. Hope we do well in the rest of the split, and just thanks and keep watching.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I'll let you go back to your team and congrats on the 2-1 again.
Great, thank you so much.